Hey everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. So I'm going to continue where I left off on this well, I won't call it really, I'll just leave it high frequency trading potential system, okay? This is just continuing where I left off from my last video. I'll post this along with other stuff as well in my blog posting, which I'll show you in a second. I have no idea how long it's going to go for, but I'm just going to blab and just see where it goes. Okay, so I've done some further research on the power of Redis. So to me, it's safe to say I can now pretty well definitively say, as a NoSQL, I'm going to change this to Redis. Okay, I'll show you why in a sec here. Let me just update this puppy. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I've got here this posting that I just put more simplified potential final blah blah, but I'm trying to make it simpler. Regarding Redis, I've put in some resources on Redis. So I'm really trying to just break it down, and I'm only working with 3 major components or tools to get me where I want to go. This right here and this right here will highlight my thoughts on Redis. The big one for me is, I just put this up earlier, this one is NoSQL, your one-stop shop for in-memory database with persistence, message queuing, clustering, and true open source. I can verify it's open source, it's clean code, it's C, I've got it working many years ago. I've got demos of that running on my YouTube channel here. Just do that search so you can see those. Now, Redis has really advanced for the last 3-4 years. Persistence was never a big, it was just a big weakness in Redis. They seem to address that. The message queuing seems to be addressed as well. Let me just pull up this option in regards to that. All right, so with Redis, there's 2 options with the message queuing. We have this, pop and push, I guess. And then there's these third-party components, REST MQ. I have no idea what these are, but these are just options available using Redis, okay? On top of that, what else has been addressed is persistence here, as well as clustering. Now, I was just tweeted by somebody who knows these environments really well. Thanks to them, is that the Redis at this point is still in not release candidate, meaning it's not production ready. But for deployment testing, I think this is fine for now. I'm not going to worry about it too much because I know it's coming. I have no idea when it's coming. And from what I've seen with Redis, it's high quality stuff. I've never been disappointed with anything when it comes to Redis. One last thing I need to mention about Redis is that there's some really good videos I posted. As I said, just do the search. This one right here. Twitter uses Redis, and from a technical standpoint, there's some really good videos here just to walk you through the power of Redis, how fast it is. But the one that I really liked is this one, Scaling Redis at Twitter. This Chiquita really knows her stuff. She talks about Redis with Java, with Redis with C, C++, and the profiling and the comparison. Watch this to understand the detail on the potential on what you can do with Redis. Okay, so personally, I think where Redis is at right now, it's got an awesome presence, but it's also got an amazing future. And the community, and just there's so much with Redis, and it's all done in C. Now, C, I've worked with back in, from 88 on, Kerningham and Ritchie, so I know that language really, really good. And I'm really comfortable with it. Also, there was a mention on the source code. Somewhere in here, yeah, right here. This link will talk about the source code, how it's easy to work with, how it's clean, and I can verify that as well. So I'm really excited there. All right, So we got that in mind about Redis. Okay, so what happens? You know that Erlang query? Let's get rid of that. So you see we're getting rid of Erlang already. This line is just separating again that divide between Windows and Linux. Okay, so let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of all these. So here we are. Redis is the answer. Now again, getting rid of Erlang. Again, these are ideas, not final, but these are just ideas, and I'm pretty comfortable on this decision. Going back to Redis because we also include message queuing. Okay, so that's why we can probably get rid of Redis. Or sorry, Erlang. Okay, I'm not saying Erlang's bad or anything. Just for my stack here, it simplifies it a lot. Okay. Now, continuing along, let's get rid of these options. This is really confusing. Okay, we have our server. I'll put this up here. Then we have all this stuff up here. Okay, this is really annoying. Okay, this is noise. This is detracts you from what you need to focus on. Okay, let me just go in here and clean this up. All right, I'm going to address all of these. Okay, hopefully I can. Yeah, I got a better idea. I can't even edit this. All right, so let me just put a new one in. Okay, so what we're doing here is let's talk about the Linux distributions. Now, again, when I last looked at Linux, things have really changed in the world of Linux. Okay, let's talk about some of the distribution options. Right now, I've got Ubuntu. Okay, for testing, works great with the apt-get. Awesome package management, works great. Okay, we also have CentOS, which is like Red Hat. I mean, a lot of the banks, IBM uses CentOS, and CentOS is free. On top of that, I'm just going to mention this here, is, let me think here. Okay, we talked about Redis. So I'm going to do a search on CentOS. Okay, this I just posted this just earlier. Right here. CentOS has a minimal installation option now under the current version of CentOS. Again, this is all free. So this video will walk you through how to install a minimal CentOS installation with just DHCP for your internet connectivity or TCP/IP, and wget and like nano for some enhanced editor, which is cool, whatever. So that's possible. Another option which is fairly new, which seems to be gaining a lot of steam, is something called Core OS. Now I just posted this last night. Now another great video, and again remember these never existed. No, I'm a fool here, jumping ahead. We want this one. Yes, this one. Now this is for high frequency trading people. When you hear about bare metal and all that. This video tutorial will show you how to install a Core OS Linux installation on a bare metal or virtual machine. This is awesome. Now, why I would not move forward with this is just due to the fact of, well, we've talked about Java, we've talked about the advantages with Java 8, as well as Redis. Now, if I just go with C only, this is a good option, and I can do a local build of Redis on this installation. Or, there's these things called Docker and boot to Docker and so on and so forth. I'm not really too worried about things like that, but that's just for better deployment. This is all new. I have no idea. Maybe my Twitter Linux guy can enlighten me here, because he's been really good so far. There's this boot Docker thing. But maybe versus Core OS, maybe the CentOS minimal Linux is a better way. And as I said, you just put you can put Java on this as well, because it's an advanced version of Linux, meaning that you can install Linux 8 on it, where this one's pretty more of a hobbyist type of Linux, it seems. But this is because it's enterprise, you have it up to date with Java 8, and then you can start taking advantages of the neat stuff you can do with Java 8 with the lambdas. And if with Oanda as a broker in Java, I can install it here as well. Okay, and again, remember, installing a local build of Redis is possible too, because that's a C source code, and you can do a local make on these OSs. So the only thing that would be a hindrance is the Java 8 on this guy, on the core OS. But CentOS, and from my perspective, I don't see the difference between the two for performance. I mean, honestly, you're splitting the hairs there, and I'm not too concerned about it, but it's always nice to have options, okay? So there's that. So let's say we go with CentOS as the distribution, okay? Yeah, so we've got Java here, that can fall under that too, right? So no different really there. Nothing really changes here as well on the Windows side, because the charting really is Infragistics. I've talked about that. So you can see it somewhat simplified. Now I want to talk about this stuff here. This stuff is what I consider noise. This is a real distraction. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about MATLAB. Okay, Python and R. Okay, this stuff is fine for people that want to develop and use C, Java for interoperability, to get their scripts embedded into their C or Java. That's fine. Maybe it may work, may not. I have a better process, and this is my preferred process. It's not an open source option, but this is what I prefer, and I'm going to tell you why. So I can safely say I'm going to get rid of these two, and that also includes getting rid of Erlang. Okay, so this box can technically go. Okay, so you can see it's a little simplified here, right? Let's talk about MATLAB. Now we're talking about authoring on MATLAB. I've already mentioned this as well. So again, I really want to kind of update this side. This is for authoring. Okay, so we got MATLAB. Okay, the one area that I'm really focusing is to co-generate to C. So we're just doing MATLAB, however it is, to C. All my algorithms, everything's going to go to C. Okay, that is via Simulink, cogenerator, coder, whatever. I've talked about that many times. Okay, so guess what? We have now removed a lot of this stuff, including F#. Not saying F# is bad, it's very good. But for authoring my model strategies, algos, I really, really like MATLAB. I keep going to it. Okay, let me show you why. Now, in the same posting I showed you at the beginning here, there's a couple of things I want you to highlight. This is now pertaining to MATLAB. Now we've talked about Redis, so we've covered that. Now we're going to talk about MATLAB. In the past, I've talked about MuPad to MATLAB to Simulink, and then you can now co-generate from that. Here's the key. When you're using the toolboxes within MATLAB, you are really hindering your ability to use the co-generation process to C. The reason is that the coder doesn't really support a lot of the other toolbox functions, like the ones from finance or whatever. Okay, so we need to avoid that. That's why I like to author a lot of algorithm development in MuPad. Now here's the resources for that, and I've talked about it, I've gone over about it, and it's kind of exciting actually. Now I've got tons and tons of videos on MuPad. Just look up workflow, Simulink, if you need to understand the power of things like Simulink. Here's one demo, specifically that MuPad to MATLAB Simulink workflow I mentioned. That's all possible and it's worked. I demoed that in this video. Here's another set of video, just examples on the power of Simulink, what you can do with Simulink, how you can take that same model and then deploy it into HDL or co-generate into HDL for FPGA deployment options. Okay, so that's for the absolute lowest latency you could possibly get for going that route. Of course, these are expensive options, we know that, but when you factor in the maintainability, hand coding it, the time, even if you're going to hire a team of coders to do this process, at the end of the day, I still think this is the absolute lowest cost, because when you factor in a version of MATLAB Home Edition, you can get a lot of cool stuff done under probably $500. I mean, are there any chances you can do it for under $300? But where it gets really costly is when you start playing with the ability to take your ideas, your trading ideas from, let's say, MATLAB itself or Simulink, and then co-generate. Once you mention that word co-generate, that changes a lot of things, because now you're getting into a commercial set of options, which is not cheap. But if you can afford it, definitely that is still going to save you a ton of dough. Now, for my personal opinion, going this route, you're going to be starting at a large set of capital. Like we're talking, I don't know, $500,000. It's typically the level of your trading account to start at. The reason I'm going this route is because I just want people to understand, as an operation of what I do, my business, there's constantly opportunities for me to raise external capital. I'm constantly turning away opportunities. So I need to factor in a number of factors like compliance, legal, all kinds of things. And this is why I go with MATLAB, because it's a recognized enterprise level tool that's used for this type of development and algorithm trading strategies. So that takes away that liability. It's also an easier sell to larger institutions that I'm not going to get into, but have not come to me. Let's put it that way. Again, let me repeat that. Have not come to me. And we're just going to leave it at that. So I have to consider this workflow, this path of development for my future. And I'm trying to find the fastest way to get there. Now, also regarding FPGA or hardware deployment, some people may or may not know, but I do have a person by the name of Mr. FPGA who has been working with me for quite a while. And he's put together some solid video presentations for my elite members. It can be found in my elite section. I don't really promote it, but it's there, and he's been heavily investigating that as an option. And from my standpoint, for business opportunities, there's opportunities there for me to team up. So these are options that I need to consider, and that's where I come back to the elimination of the Python, R, and Erlang, and all that stuff. So I think this is the better way to go, it's much easier to go this path. Eliminates a lot of the noise, a lot of distraction. I've played a lot with R, I've played a lot with Python, but not saying that these are bad tools. Just depends on your goals, your end target. So for me, this is probably the easier way to go about it, and I'm really excited. Oh, one last mention: if you ever get to or have the decision that you want to go, and I mentioned this in the other architecture video, there's a brokerage called Lime Brokers, or Brokerage, or whatever. They're an HFT brokerage. The only environment that they will support for HFT or high frequency trading is Java and C++. All their APIs are done in either languages, and Linux only. Okay, you do have fixed options, but again, those APIs that are supported for fix are again Java and C++ only. So that will again eliminate all this mumbo jumbo about F#, R, Python, and R and all that stuff, because again, I need to consider that for my future, so I don't have to sit here again reworking this sort of stuff. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm thinking, more of a simplified, and this charting has not changed. Everything's just determined. And the only outstanding challenge is the Infragistics front-end demo app that they have called Trade Equity. And maybe they're listening to this, I don't know, but I want to give a shout out to them for being cool and highlighting that video on Infragistics and my thoughts on it. That was pretty cool of them. And that's another cool thing, how you know vendors, because DevExpress never did it, and a few others never did anything outside of sidecharts. But for my needs, Infragistics seems to be the solution. So again, just put that out there. Sorry. But anyways, I do believe that I've not looked at the code. I'll be looking at it fairly soon. So again, that charting app, again, the trading equity, this is, I'm assuming that backend is driven by SQL Server. So again, we have paths into that from the Linux side via the Java, the Redis enables. It's very cool how this thought process has come together. So I think this is the path, and just strip out all that extra noise of Python, R. I'm sure it works for a lot of people, but this I'm very comfortable with, because it enables me to go at low level, be able to author really quickly via MATLAB and all those options that I talked about, and get things rolling pretty quick, with Redis as being my backend for in-memory message queuing, also hopefully the clustering, and the there's another one I'm forgetting here, the clustering, and something else will work out. Okay, so hopefully continue with the feedback. This is really helpful, and I do appreciate it. I do. That's why I'm making these videos, trying to be transparent on these videos and feedback and stuff. So thanks again. I really value it. A lot of people have come about to really let me know what they think. And of course, all these algorithms and stuff, I may actually put in my quant leap. Okay, so that membership's available still. I'm not going to harp on about that, but the way it's looking on this side of it, it's going to be pretty well on the server side 100% C, with connectivity into it via this charting app from Infragistics, which look really solid. So I just thought I'd put it out there. Again, thanks again for the appreciation. Thanks for the input. Thanks for the feedback. It's right or wrong, doesn't matter. These are just ideas, nothing final. But I do like what I see. Okay? And I'll talk to you later. Bye.